Welcome to Season 5 of A Little Birdie Told Me with your host, Rebecca Horan. On episode 1, I sit down with TV presenter Kathryn Thomas. This is one hell of a conversation. Enjoy the ride. Sponsored by Aptamil Follow-On Milk. We believe that every feed is a gift. That's why we've dedicated over 50 years to breast milk research and created Aptamil Follow-On Milk. Aptamil Follow-On Milk, your life, our science. Breastfeeding is best. Follow-on milk should be used as part of a mixed diet from 6 months. Talk to a health professional. Well, if it isn't the queen of Irish television, which I think is completely fair and truthful to say, because you just are. So I was dying to have Kathryn Thomas, who's here with me, as you can see, on the first, second, third, fourth season. But, you know, she's hard.
I finally answered your WhatsApp.
Yeah, you finally looked at my DMs. I'm always hitting her up. And then there's like a nothing. And then one day I was like, oh, hello.
Don't take any offense. You're not the only one. That's how I live my life week to week. I'll say, oh, geez, I'll get back to that message. I'll get back to that DM.
You're having a quiet day and you decided to respond to me.
I said, you know what? Yeah. I was like, shit, I have not gotten back to Rebecca for 3 years.
She ghosted me for 3 years and I finally got her. I'm thrilled to have her in studio.
No, I'm delighted. I'm delighted to be
Are
on.
you though? I think you're nervous.
No. Well, I was grand until we got in and started and had a coffee outside for half an hour, and then I just
kind of got all the info out.
All
so now we've
the
nothing
info
to talk about. But I'm delighted to have Kathryn here.
This has already been a very busy morning.
Yes,
because I was at my child's sports day this
That's
morning.
early.
Yeah, they had it for the parents, right? So I was
nice.
getting, I mean, you think I was nervous coming in to do this. No, I didn't sleep last night because I had the sack race.
Did you do the
today.
race? Yeah, I was going to say highly competitive health and fitness coach, celebrity
completely.
mom. I'd say all the parents were like, not turning up.
Yeah, they
today.
were like, oh, geez, here comes your woman. And I'm like, yeah, it's all about the taking part.
Did you
No,
win?
it's not. It's
Did
about,
you win?
Yes, of course I won.
Oh my gosh, she just had to get that out right on the off. How many minutes are we in? What a loser. Yes, I won the mum's race. You're amazing.
Mums and dads.
In that dress?
Yeah.
You did
No
not.
shoes.
You
No
look
shoes.
Amazing. We was just saying we absolutely love her look. We're saying we filmed this, so obviously the social snippets, and I decided because it was Kathryn just to wear something very muted because there was no way I was competing. You look fantastic.
No, I did not realise the setup was going to be this big. And
yeah, it's a big deal.
I would have washed my hair, but I was more concentrating on the sack race.
Good.
Than
That's
actually
parenting.
The
that is what you and I, best moms.
And then my husband just texted me there now going, I missed the fucking penalty.
That's
so he
amazing.
stayed on to do the football
Oh, he
penalty.
stayed as well. Oh, just these.
So
these are parents of the year.
We're just so annoying.
That's brilliant though. Okay, so I would have grown up, and Kathryn's only literally only a few years between us, but I would have been very much watching your career as someone who was trying to get into media, particularly, and we spoke about this earlier on, No Frontiers, where it was like,
God.
What a cow.
Bring me back.
Yeah, because it was the days in Ireland, even though it was the boomy days, people weren't really seeing as much. We were all travelling, but it wasn't only starting to the years in Australia and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was only coming in back then. So that was like 99,
when was that?
2000,
Yeah.
2001. Because I had
What
done...
age were you? Were a baby.
I was 21, Rebecca. 21. And I did it for 10 years. So 21 to 31, I was travelling.
It was on for 10 years?
It was on for 10 years. It was on
Didn't
longer
feel
than
like
that.
It was on for 10 years.
It was on longer than that, but I was only involved for 10 years. And I will never forget getting a phone call to meet the producer in the Leeson Lounge, a pub on Leeson Street in Dublin. And I had been doing a sports programme with Jason Sherlock for 3 years, dropped out of college.
What? Okay, hang on. From 19 to 21, you were doing a sports...
Yeah.
Okay, whoa, your career is so different to what I thought.
Yeah,
so you left college.
I
what
left
were you doing?
college and I basically went sweeping floors.
What were you doing in college?
Arts in UCD.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do communications in
Yeah.
DCU, didn't get the points.
Grant.
And ended up in arts in UCD, spent the first kind of couple of months in the bar,
Yeah.
not really knowing what I was doing there. And so just wrote to every independent production company.
Wow.
And I went in working volunteer, running basically, you know, getting teas, coffees. My first day on set was holding an umbrella over Duncan Stewart. Do you remember
My
Duncan Stewart?
uncle! My uncle! Don't even say a thing. You're on camera, bitches!
He was an
he was
awful
a pain in the
boy.
hole. Yeah, that's my uncle. My mum's brother, Duncan.
is so
I'm very
funny.
sustainable, Kathryn, if you want to talk to me about that.
He was a gent.
He's a
and my
gent.
first job, he was rehearsing his lines.
Or About the House.
About the House.
Yeah, my cousin Marcus produced Eco Eye, so I wonder was he involved in it? I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
That is
You're holding an umbrella.
gas.
I'll talk to him about that later.
So I was holding, while he was practicing his lines, holding the umbrella
So
over
I
him in the
started
ring.
your career
You
effectively.
effectively you did. Effectively, it's
That's
all
so
thanks to you.
funny. That's mad.
So yeah, so did that, and then was in Coco Television, was in all sorts of different
Coco,
independent
yeah, okay,
production
one of these
companies,
big, yeah.
labeling tapes, doing all that, and then got the opportunity to go for an audition. Did that audition, because I was labeling all these tapes for presenters that were sending in their show reels, and going okay, and writing little notes on okay, this is Rebecca Horan, this is what she likes to do, blah blah. And then I just turned around and said, I can do this. I can do this. So basically bent the ear and harassed the producer that was there at the time, and then got an audition for a sports show with Jason Sherlock. Knew nothing about sport.
What was the sports show?
Rapid.
I don't remember that.
Don't remember Rapid. Yeah,
No, I don't.
I'm highly insulted.
I did Satitude and you don't remember me, Kathryn. That was one of the biggest Saturday
God,
breakfast.
you did. You did.
Very good. Not on scale, because so Molly Brathnock did it. Anyway, we won't get into that. So you did Rapid.
Yeah. So that was 3 years.
Can I ask you what you felt? Because this, I think, all adds to how we parent and how we get to where we are in our lives now, which is like not really middle aged because you're absolute hottie, but like it is that part of your life when you're halfway through. What lent itself? Like, why did you think that you would be a wonderful communicator, effective on television, a good presenter? What were your? Because you were decisive. This course doesn't suit me. This is what I want to do, and I'm going to go for it. What
I
personality
think as a
traits?
kid, I was always a tomboy.
Okay,
I was
wow.
always a rule breaker. I was
Okay.
always in trouble in school.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I would have put
no.
you more nerdy.
Oh
Really?
my God.
You
No,
baldy.
2 schools, 3 suspensions. Yes.
For doing what? Can you say?
I can't say.
Is this A-class drugs and stuff?
No.
I can't even imagine you being a real. Really?
Yeah, no, well, I was sent to boarding school,
Yeah.
and put it this way, I
That's so funny.
I did not,
bold.
abide by staying within the premises
Oh, no,
all
she
of
was
the time.
Divil for the boys.
So
divil.
divil for the boys. Yeah, it was a mixed school as well. So my brother was a year older than me. He was head boy. My sister was 3 years younger.
Totally
She was
mortified by
head
you.
girl,
Okay.
and I was just this black sheep in
Bringing
the middle,
down that- yeah, I'm the black
bringing
sheep out of my
down the
three.
name of the
Yeah.
family.
This is so funny.
Yeah. So my dad. So I mean, but I was always. My dad would say as a kid, I was always where I shouldn't have been. I was always jumping off stuff. I was always pushing
A
boundaries.
lot of energy.
I was always like just didn't want to be following the rules.
Oh, I love this.
And so-
okay, I wouldn't have thought. Right, that's so interesting because you're very focused and you are a huge success story. And then you watch you on Operation Transformation, all that, those kind of programs. But to see this side that actually really lends itself to No Frontiers, which was so fun.
Well, you see, that's
Wow,
what,
okay, that
and
is
you see
interesting.
what on Rapid, right? What happened was Jason Sherlock was this icon,
He was
sporting
hot, wasn't he?
icon, pin up, like
Yeah, he
the
was
the hot
hot.
boy of the Dublin team.
Dublin
He was,
JA?
yeah,
Yes, I
played for
remember now,
Dublin,
yeah.
and he was on billboards all over the place. And I remember meeting him for the first time, and I knew nothing about sport,
That's really
nothing. Like
funny.
I couldn't tell you anything, and he knew everything about every sport.
Yeah.
Jason played basketball for Ireland. He could have played for Tiddlywinks for whatever. Do you know, he was just one of these really sporty,
Yeah. Naturally. Yeah.
So what happened was, over the course of the 3 years of the show, he did all the big sporting interviews with David Beckham, with like Ronaldo, with all of these people. Like, we went to the States. He would, and basically they just ended up firing me. I used to go skydiving, bungee jumping.
As part of the show.
As part of the show.
Right,
So
okay.
he did all the kind of
Yeah,
serious
and you
sport
did the
interviews,
adventure
and I
stuff.
did the adventure stuff. And I kind of said, like, I'm well able to carry out these
chats,
interviews.
yeah,
And he
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, yeah, but I'm not well able to get into a cave or cage and go diving with
yeah,
sharks.
fine.
So anyway, the persona was built. He was sports guy. I was extreme sports girl.
Yeah.
And then, as you say, just at that time, Ireland was changing. Use It had opened on
Yes,
the
Use
Keys.
It. Oh my
And so
God.
student travel,
Yeah.
people were doing the southeast coast of Australia. People were taking their
You're
year
right,
out.
you're right.
And so and then they just said they needed somebody to put on a backpack
But
and go
who's
traveling.
they? Coco?
Frontier Films. Frontier Films. Yeah.
right,
So that
remember.
the show had been on for a couple of years at that point. They had great presenters, but they needed to kind of capture what was happening
That
in Ireland and
zeitgeist
around
of
the
20-somethings heading off on their... And you
So
were
I
a female on your own. It was also the independent traveller in you, like the
Oh my
intrepid.
God.
It wasn't the couples going to Malaga. This was an intrepid.
No.
So you left Rapid. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know. This is so interesting, which was on RT, I presume.
Yeah.
You still haven't finished your university degree because
Oh,
you're
my
on a
parents and my
flipping
nana
trajectory.
were like crying their eyes out when I dropped out of UCD. I was like, I'm just going to take a year out and do this sports show for a year.
amazing.
And I'll come back into it again.
And then you get
Never went
into
back
No
to college again.
Frontiers.
Yeah.
Did it change your life? I
It
know that's
changed-
so cringe, but did it?
No, it's not cringe. And I will still say to this day, because when you start a job like that at 21 and you finish at 31. I grew up. I became the woman that I am today on the road. And it was the best education, Rebecca. I swear to God, like, where do you learn? And
you were so lucky.
I was so lucky.
Like,
and people say, oh, you make your luck.
We hated you.
I
like,
know.
Like we were all like studying or trying to get in somewhere, or like you said, running places, and you were so likable too. You weren't an asshole. Like you weren't someone you're like.
Not everyone would have
thought that.
But
you weren't a pain in the tits. Is like, here I am in my thong bikini jump. You were so like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this. You looked funny. Cool. You looked like the gal you want to drink with or date. Like you were so openly relatable.
That is a real compliment.
I mean? No, absolutely you were. You were like, I really want to go traveling with her. She's not an a-hole.
Yeah.
And you made it like that show honestly still sits in kind of my, what we were all like those dark November days, and you go home and that was on, and most things you were like, I'm not watching any of that shit, but you'd always watch it.
The crack was. I mean, I didn't really
on a budget.
On a budget.
Okay.
So like there would literally be me and a director that would go away with a tiny camera. I'd do microphones and send. There'd be two of us. You'd have a budget of 300 quid and you would take off to Africa and you'd go across Africa for 3 weeks. Then you come back, you'd wash your knickers and socks, you'd be gone again, and you could be in South America for 4 weeks. You come home, and I was living with 5 girls in a flat. I was living in a flat in Rathmines.
She's not living in some mansion in Foxrock. You were still like renting with your pals.
Yes. Yeah, like I was coming home and it was pot noodles and into night owls in Ranelagh. Do you know what I mean? Like it was, and then they were going to college, trying to hold down 2 jobs.
Did you miss that scene, the college, or not? Or can you even say that when you had such a good time?
I was having such
you can't
ball.
Do that then.
I was having such a ball, and and I was kind of getting back, and and like throughout the 10 years. I had a boyfriend. I didn't have a boyfriend. Yeah. I was going out with a guy for a long time. Yeah, who lived in London. And then we broke up. And then, but just traveling with the crew was the most amazing time. And then I moved from the independent travel girl who had the eyebrow pierced, the nose pierced, the tongue pierced. Who's just swanning around in a bikini and a pair of combat shorts. And then they made me the lead presenter of the show. And I remember them taking me into town and getting me into fancy dresses, and all the piercings had to come out. And like, I had to get highlights,
Not just sun in anymore, Kathryn, for you.
So it changed then, because then 1 minute you're
a celebrity. You weren't just having the crack on a show. You were literally a name.
And it kind of, and then you were doing kind of the more like 5-star holidays and going to the Maldives.
How did you find that change? Was it weird?
No, I loved it, and I kind of, as I was growing up, it was good to kind of expand. I was also producing a lot of my stuff at the time, and working with different directors and producers was actually really good for me, because I went, this is my career now. This is what I can do. This is what I know I'm good at. But if you ask me which were the trips I enjoyed the most, it was all those backpacking ones.
And were you ever nervous because you did some mad shit?
We were like, we were in Papua New Guinea. We went to the Antarctic. We climbed Kilimanjaro. We did some mad shit.
We did some jumps the Nevis
bungee jumps. Yeah, but the more extreme and the more out there, the better for me.
Where does that come from? One of your parents?
Yeah, like my dad is always he would always be a big traveller, big adventurer, and they always, in fairness, pushed us to be really independent.
Love that.
And again, it kind of goes back to that childhood. If you're told to stay out of something, I'm straight in it.
Yeah, I was that gal. But that's not
good.
You? Oh my God, I was a hideous article. Like, I'm the youngest of 3 girls, both of whom are successful, focused, steady, very smart. So like dad would come home and go, your sisters have gotten A's on your C again. Like, okay, dad, and that's not that bad. Hugely successful. And like in my own way, I've carved my own career, but total black sheep. And I do wonder, is it the third kid, or is it nothing to do with that? Are you born? I think I'm just, Mum said you were born the way you were born.
Well, I have 2 girls now, right? Ellie, who's 6, and Grace, who's 2, same as your girls.
Yes, exactly the same.
Exact same age. And my Ellie would be, when she was born, she ate, she slept, she's very conscientious, she's very concerned about people, she's kind, she's caring, she's loving, all of those things.
All the things.
And my
dad
not. Was kind of looking at this child going, because he was like, when you have children, you'll know. And then Ellie came along, and she is the golden, she is a golden child. Now, both of my children are. Yeah, that'll
Ellie
come back
might
to
find her voice.
That'll come back to swipe me in the arse when I'm collecting her from a police station in Colombia or something. Anyway, but Grace then came along and is just a wild
she's
child.
Wild. Off a rocker.
She is jumping off stuff. We've been to Crumlin 6 times. She split her head open. She's just
she has it in her. Like
she and my father said, I told it would happen. It would happen, and it's happened.
Yeah, Mum. I pissed and moaned to my mum, and she's like, my parents are older, like they had kids older. They're nearly 80, and Mum is so tired of it all. She just goes, I say, this happened with Simone, and she's did it, and Mum's like, I know, Pat, but you deserve it. Like Mum's so sad for her missed life, because she literally would be like, where it's 2 a.m, Rebecca, you're 16, where in Harcourt Street are you? I'm just down with Alice. You're not down with Alice. Where are you? Oh, I can't tell you, I'm at a house party in Stillork. Like, she just couldn't cope with me. I was just insatiable. Like, she couldn't cope with me. My two sisters are in bed studying.
And so when
they shut the door and study for 3 hours, and I used to think there was something wrong with them. I'm like, they're so weird.
And so as a parent now, and I've heard you, like, are you relaxed, would you say, with the girls?
I'm off my rocker with the girls, which causes a lot of controversy at home, because my husband's like, you need to chill your boots. We need to keep a very calm, he's structured, routine, South African.
Okay, whereas you stir the madness.
I calm down. I'm like, disco, let's play. We're going to beat the Venga Boys night. And he's like, just stop it. Yeah. Everything was lovely. We're all doing our homework. We're going to do some piano.
You are just causing consternation.
But I just want the crack. I want them to have a bit of crack in them. And he's like, they don't need it. I'm like,
I am the same. Yeah. It's dancing around the kitchen. It's
like,
all
Gia needs me to bring it out of her, because she's quite I would say a little bit self-conscious.
Okay.
Which I think is okay to say, and just a gorgeous girl. But like, I need to bring it out of her. But Jason's like, I don't think you do. I think just let her be. And then the other one doesn't need any enticing. And so there's 3 off their rockers, and then our dog. But I think it must be irritating to be. I think if you're not in that, where I crave constant attention, crack, joy, madness, badness all the time. And if you're not that person, it must be very irritating.
How is your husband still with you then, if he's not?
I don't know if he is still with me. I'm not sure he's still
That's
in the
the
marriage.
That's
au pair. We have an au pair now, so it's loosey loose. Kathryn was like to me, sorry, no holds barred, no frontiers. Kathryn was like, you have an au pair. Are you mad? I'm like, why?
No. I said,
is she attractive? Is she old?
I was like, don't tell me you've got a 24-year-old hot au pair.
Yes, I do. And I said, I've no fear, because what'll be will be. And Kathryn was like, what?
You are a lunatic.
I am what I am as a parent. I don't go home and suddenly oh, mommy's here. I go home and I'm like, God, what a day. Like, and I'll put on an accent, and you can see Gia's like, what happened, mommy? It was a disaster. And like, we have a bit of crack about it. I go upstairs. I take off my clothes, and she go, look at your mad big squishy bottom. I'm like, thanks for that, Gia. I put on we talk about things. I never critique my body, which I think was done a lot from aunts and friends of mum, and think where it was all like, I need to lose weight. I don't do that. We're very open about bodies, which I'm really into. We do our fitness in front of them, so they know that that's really important to have a healthy body and mind. So I'm trying to change things, but also keep with all the big love. But I'm very myself. I'm cranky, I'm not. I'm hyper, I'm this.
And they recognise, obviously, in your house, there's, mom is who she is, dad is who he is. And that's the same in our house as well. And I think maybe we're quite similar as well. Like, I'll come in, as I said, crank up the music, run around the house,
get the energy.
And in fairness, Porrick is as well. Like, I mean, we're older parents. Like, I'm 45, he's 55. Porrick was married before.
55?
Yeah.
And 10 years between you.
Yes.
He's a devil.
He is a devil.
He was married before.
He was married before, and he has. We have a stepson, Connor, who is 27.
Oh my God, that's
27,
nuts.
yeah.
Okay, wow.
So, and Connor just comes
such
in.
the blended. You're such a modern lady.
And like, so we go out, we have the crack with Connor, we go drinking.
You're an older mom, like 6 and 2, 45. I think that's quite normal nowadays.
Yeah. I mean,
did you feel like an older mom having your baby?
Never. They put the geriatric mom form over your bed
it's nice,
in the
isn't
coom,
it?
which just makes you feel so good about yourself.
But sure, I was 33 having Gia. I was like 30. I'm 40 now, so and I remember they're like, you're heading towards geriatric. I'm like, I literally couldn't be. I'm in my 30s, so I think it doesn't really matter. And once you fit healthy with it, and you can do it, and
and you feel good, and you feel ready. And I mean, we've been quite open about our pregnancy journey that was quite difficult to get there, but thankfully it all worked out. Yes, it did. 100%.
With the first or the second?
With the first, we had IVF on both girls.
Okay.
So
which is just not the crack. Everyone just says it as a kind of, we had IVF. IVF is like some fecker of a journey.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting, hard on the bod, expensive. There's the hope. Like, it's anyone that I've had on is like, it is a shit show.
Yeah. So we were 3 years trying to have Ellie.
That's a lot.
So it was a lot. And, we were with an amazing woman called Mary Wingfield in the Marion Fertility Clinic. She was incredible.
Marion Fertility Clinic was amazing.
Yeah. So, and again, you're sort of, you're in it. And again, I'm somebody I would have always said who was very optimistic, very driven.
You always wanted to have babas?
Did you care?
It wasn't really a big factor in my life. You know, when I was traveling the way that I was and young, free and single and having the crack.
But you wanted to get married and settle at some point.
I never really had that
no,
vision
either did I.
No, I
never
mean,
wanted the big dress.
Never wanted the big white dress. I didn't.
I wanted a partner. I definitely wanted someone to be with for life, but I wasn't arsed about marriage and kids.
Yeah, I was the same. And I think when you live a life where, you know, in my late 20s, I was going to a lot of weddings. I also missed a lot of my friends' weddings because I was traveling and I was away so much. But that was my life. And so I never knew from one minute to the next where I was going, what I was doing. I didn't know whether the show was going to be commissioned the following year. So I never lived a life of routine. I never lived a life of knowing what was happening next. I was never in one place for any period of time. Yeah. So I think that does impact you in terms of who you are. It actually kind of fed into my personality of being very independent and carefree and like life is for living and heading off. But does that also impact your desire to settle down and want to be with somebody? Of course it does, because you know, you're not living that life. And so I was growing up that way. Yeah. But then I suppose the older you get, and I had finished No Frontiers then when I was 31, and I had started into Operation Transformation, and that was kind of a different period of my life and a new period of my life, a calmer period. And I was in a relationship where, you know, that brought me, you know, calmness, and I was able to go to the cinema, and I was able to go for dinners, and we were able to go for dates, like something that I had not done, predictable, that you didn't have. Yeah. And I kind of that fed into what I suppose I thought I needed and what I wanted. But again, was I always gone like the first opportunity? I never put my backpack, like, so I still
I don't think you'll ever change. Like, I do think it's interesting that you say, and I'm like you as well, I've kind of settled down and I've a ish 9-to-5 job and a marriage and kids, but I do think that wildness never really leaves you. Like, I know when I go on a ski trip with my gals, I'm hideous.
Yeah, I never
I'm just not
to.
a good influence on anyone ever, really. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't want to either. But it's funny how you try and put yourself in the Lego piece, and like sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it works.
I mean, I wish I could have a night out in the way that I used to. I mean, I used to be the queen of the dance floor. I'd be up dancing on the tables, the whole thing, you know.
But you're geriatric now.
I'm
Kathryn.
a geriatric now. So, and, you know, if I get to 10 o'clock in my own kitchen,
you're like,
you know,
woo, boys. So you decided you would have Bobos, and he was a little bit older. Not old, but he's a little bit older. So you're like, we'll go for it.
We'll go for it.
And you spent 3 years on that IVF cycle.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be flippant or harsh. Were you not a bit like, this is too hard, let's just leave this?
We were
a similar few years, and I do remember going, this sucks.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I was like, sorry, yeah, that's where I got waylaid there, which I tend to do a lot in my stories.
We were off at another frontier there.
Exactly.
Something else.
But I suppose my personality was always, this will happen. I can make this happen. I'm that person. There's no problems, just solutions. Give me the problem.
I'm like that too.
I know, so annoying.
Yeah.
And that's just me. And I'm like, I will make this happen.
We'll do this, yeah.
And then the longer it went on, and the resolve starts to chip away. And it became all encompassing. And, you know, even as everybody who has been on that journey, the spontaneity, the calendars,
sexy times,
the like running,
it's
like running pots
it's
up
horrendous.
into the, you know, to try and get it to the clinic, all of this stuff, like, it's awful. And then it doesn't happen. And then it did happen. We had 2 miscarriages.
Okay.
And
sorry,
so
that's horrendous.
Yeah, thank you. But it was, you know, and so the resolve starts to wane, and the positivity and the hope starts to wane,
and the chats become darker.
Yeah,
the chats are always like, it'll happen for us. I know. Now, Louisa had this happen, but it's hard.
Deep down, I felt it would happen. I never stopped believing.
Oh wow!
I never stopped believing. But did it become harder? And when we tried then with IVF, and I said, if this doesn't work now, that is it.
Okay.
And we actually even went to an adoption meeting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, because I just said, I need to know what are our options.
Yeah.
And again, you know, in fairness to Porrick, he was like, whatever you want, whatever we want, we will make this happen. And for him, you see, he has Connor, and I obviously have Connor as well, but
he wanted for you to get some kind of dream. And
I
get that.
And it was kind of, you know, it was part of our plan.
Yeah.
But we kind of said, look, if after this time it doesn't happen, that's it.
Okay.
And we were very lucky. We got pregnant on the first round of IVF.
Well, you weren't lucky. You'd been through hell.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, as women, we're divils for like yeah, it was hard. We had 7,000 miscarriages and like it's really hard on the body, the mind, the relationship. Like you talked about trying to conceive. It's one of my most hideous memories, really, of our marriage. Yeah, of course. It's like there's nothing lovely about
the
plotting.
scheduling. Yeah,
the science. There isn't, and it's that pressure, and you feel like they're not really into it, and then you're worried about yourself, and you're self-conscious, and so you did go through hell, and I'm so happy for you that on that first you got pregnant with
now
Ellie.
the pregnancy, I didn't enjoy the pregnancy at all. I mean,
nerves or just were unwell?
Nerves. No, I wasn't unwell. The only negative that I had during pregnancy was right at the very end when I had what's called pregnancy itch, which I'd never heard of before. Holy good Jesus Christ. I was from the neck down,
the skin.
Covered in
skin,
chamomile
itchy.
lotion. It was like everything was itchy. My arse, my belly,
that's
my
awful.
legs, everything, my toe, everything was itchy. And I was just like this
What did
huge
they say it was from?
giant. It was something to do with hormones in my
Peru.
liver.
It was the
I
time
couldn't
you
give a
went to
shit what it
Peru.
was. I just remember it being
God, that's
horrific,
horrendous.
like so horrendous. And I'm like, arms, and I just, like, there's a photograph that we
Is
have.
that right? Kathryn Thomas scratching her badge on Grafton Street up the Duffer.
No, I mean,
Photo for
no, I
VIP.
got 2 weeks.
Are
No,
you
I wouldn't be on
serious?
Grafton Street because I was
were just
in
so
the
itchy.
bed.
Oh, that's
I was like, it was so bad. But
Sorry,
that was
I
the
don't know why I'm laughing, but that's awful. So I had very itchy
No, but I-
boobs.
Well, itchy
I'd be in
boobs
the
and
office
itchy-
and I go, when do you need that by? And they'd be like, what? But I didn't have itchy everywhere else, but the boobs were at me.
Oh, I was just, and we have this photograph that we pull out every now and then just to, like,
Just
you
to
know,
turn you on.
just to laugh. Just, and it's literally just me like lying naked, and I'm
With
just
cream.
this pink. I
Oh,
just
no,
look like
God,
a giant
love you.
big fucking pink pig is all I can say. It's just awful. But that was the only negative in pregnancy. But in terms of the run through pregnancy, I just never relaxed. I never settled, because you get to 6 weeks, and I always miscarried at 6 weeks or at 8 weeks, and then you get to 8 weeks, and then you get to 12 weeks, and then that you say you're safe. And I was with a guy, an
never
amazing
feel
doctor
safe.
called Hugh O'Connor in the
He's
Coombe.
amazing.
He's
Amazing.
brilliant.
But you never feel safe.
And he just kept saying to me, Kathryn, you know, and I turn up every Friday, you know, for another scan, and I just turn up there for 5 o'clock.
Kathryn, I used
And
to
he
go
was
at
just-
night, in the middle of the night, like pretending I'd had a bleed. Honestly, I was off my rocker at the end with Simone, because I'd had such a hard time that I'd actually just drive at night and go, there was a slight bleeder, and they were like, Rebecca, stop. I'd be like, scan me. Yeah, because she'd stop kicking or something.
Yes.
And Jason would be like,
Yes.
get back into bed. I'm like, I'm just heading off to get an ice cream. He's like, you're not. You're going to Holland Street.
Really?
Yeah, driving.
No, there's a bit of that in me as well. There's a
They
bit of
were
that.
like, here she is.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
the secretary ended up just getting like more and more pissed off, you
She's
know, because
like,
I would
these
just turn up
celebrity
again.
moms.
Yeah. And so, in fairness to him, he was
nerve-wracking.
so good, you know, and every Friday I'd be there, every Friday. And then, and funny, and then once I was huge and like ready to go, and I was like still that itch, and I was covered in chamomile lotion, and I was meant to be, I was going in for my last 2-week scan, and my best friend who was also another geriatric mother ready to go. We ended up in the Coombe together,
Lovely.
because she was 2 weeks late, and I ended up going 2 weeks early,
Oh,
and I was not
Jesus.
going to go for the last scan.
Okay.
Because I had 2 weeks maternity leave. I had been working right the way up to it, and
You're
I
like,
had
I
my
don't
nail
need it.
appointment booked at 3 o'clock, and I was like, this is it now, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Like, so good to myself,
Yeah.
giving myself 2 weeks off,
And then
you
the
know.
baby came.
And then I went in to have the last scan, and the girl who was doing the ultrasound or whatever, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
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 She said, oh, when is due? And I said, 2.5 weeks. And she said, oh, no, this baby is coming sooner than that. And that was it. And I said, sorry, what? And I basically, Hugh was called, big rush. And
no.
yeah, so I ended up having an emergency section. So the placenta, there was no amniotic fluid around her head. And
Placenta pravia or something? No.
I don't know what it was, but there was
They
no...
had to get Baba out.
Yeah, Baba was out. So now
Jeez,
we had talked about an elective section anyway, and then I was kind of changing my mind. I was
Why
like,
were
well,
you going to do that?
because I had, I would see a lot of women who come to my retreats. So I run a retreat business called Pure Results.
I know, which is amazing.
You have to come down.
Keep
You
your
have to come down.
kegels going, keep your body.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
Well,
I love watching what you do, because you're helping women and we need more of this.
Yeah, and getting women together for a weekend or a week away and going, you know what, don't
Remind
be
us
scared of
where it is.
exercise.
Everywhere around the country?
We are
No.
like the travelling circus. We
Great.
go everywhere. We're in the K
I'm gonna
Club,
get
we're
on
in
the
Park
next one.
Vasilla, we're in
Oh,
the Armada, we're
lovely,
all over the place.
lovely.
But like what is incredible is when you have women of all different fitness levels, all different ages. Some women go, I have not done anything for 15 years. Some women who are just recovering from illness, some women who are going through marriage breakups, whatever it is, and they come and they get out of their own environment, they get out of their head, they get out of their space, and they come down and they find a safe space with a group of women.
And it looks amazing.
And you'll know, like when you get 20 women together or 25 women together, the power
so
and the
powerful.
support that comes
Like
from
a
that
movement.
And yeah, you could have one woman over there who's doing 40 squats who's amazing, and you could have one woman who can do 4 and
who's
she's
starting
amazing.
afresh.
But the inspiration that might happen around a dinner table from the woman and the stories from her life that can do 4 squats.
This is your boarding school training. This is the being socialized, being with people all the time.
Love
this is
it.
why you're brilliant at retreats.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
I
powerful.
just love that everybody has their own strengths. Movement is for everybody. Exercise is for everybody. I hate this notion that you just have to be
One
a
size
skinny,
fits all. No.
neon legging wearing
I think that's
person.
gone though, because we know
I
if
think
we
it
move,
is.
we're happier.
Yeah.
We literally know that energy breeds energy. Like that if you're like, oh, I'm tired, it's literally because you're not moving enough.
Yeah.
Like, we know this works for
Yeah.
us. Yeah. But you're
But
saying
going
about
back
seeing
to
women.
and so I would have seen an awful lot of incontinence on our retreats, and we would have had loads of conversations
All
about
through labour.
Well, just we'd have had so many conversations over the last 10 years about women going, you know, the post-baby care
is shit.
is non-existent in
post-baby
this
care.
country. Like one of my best friends lives in Finland, and
stop.
it is like
All the Scandi
postnatal
countries,
care
yeah.
and physiotherapy.
Australia, yeah.
It is part of the pregnancy
Get
process.
your body back.
Exactly.
Get your life back.
Get
Get
your
your
life
mental health
back.
back.
And-
Instead, it's like 6 weeks tick.
Yeah, and it's almost like goodbye at the hospital. You know, how is baby? Not how are you?
No,
not
they don't
how
give
are
a
your?
shit.
How is your
Female
body?
health in this country is in the toilet.
So, you know, and I've had so many conversations with women, and I've had so many, you know, and in all of our retreats, we go, okay, if you can't do a jumping jack, which a lot of women can't do.
Isn't that terrible?
A lot of women can't squat. A lot of women can't run. A lot of women can't because of issues, not just post-pregnancy, but in a large amount of cases and women that we would see, right, on our retreats.
That's
I've had
terrible.
so many conversations. Anyway, I had this conversation with my doctors, and I said, because I want to get back running, because I want to do my weight-bearing exercises, and, you know, the argument to and fro is, well, it can still, whether you have a section or not, you know, it's not necessarily, you know,
A cure-all.
A cure-all.
Yeah,
And I 100% get that, and every body is different, and every woman's body is different. But for me, I felt it was the right move for me, that I wanted an elective section, and Hugh was cool with that. And then the longer I went through the pregnancy, I went, this is probably the only baby I'm ever going to have, and I started going, I'll
miss the
I'll miss the labor,
Yeah.
and like I'll never
Yeah.
experience what it's like to give birth that way. And I
Sore.
wasn't, yeah. And in a way, there was a part of me scared shitless of the pain. I'm not going to lie.
No. We need to be more honest
But there
about
was, and there was a part of me then that just was like, you know, between my aunt and my friends who'd had great labours, difficult labours. My mother turned around to me. She's like, "What are you getting an elective section for? Women for 1,000 years done it." And I said, "Mom,
my mum was like scans. You're off your rocker scan. They put their finger up you once every 5 weeks to see if the baby was alive. Scans, like what sex the baby's, what length it's going to be when it's 7. She just lolled at me. I was like, I think she's going to be little and she might be short. How do you know that? Oh, the scan, Mom. And they can, she was like, listen to me, love. You would literally turn up in the rotunda. Maybe 10 weeks would have passed. They'd be like, it's still there. And you'd head on up. She's like, what is this?
What is
shite?
this? Yeah, and my mother was like,
pushing them out.
I was like, I want to be able to squat. Like, I want to be able to get on a
like, "Shut up,
trampoline."
Kathryn.
And she was like, "You're 40 fucking 2. What are you doing on a trampoline?" And I was like, "If I want to." Like, what's
Mom? Oh, I know. They just think, honestly, that generation just think we're hideous.
hideous?
Yeah.
But,
Sure, your granny had 7 miscarriages. Mum, but that doesn't make
I
it
know,
okay.
I know,
Actually,
I know.
You know, that's the problem. That's
Yeah.
why we're all traumatized.
Traumatized. I know. Nobody talks about it.
Don't
Nobody.
deal with your shit.
Yeah, and that was why it was really important for me to talk about it, and it was really like,
But we do. None of us talk about it. Women will never say this. Sorry, women. I don't care if you're having loads of sex or not. We all want our vagina to be the same after we have babies. Let's stop pretending we don't. I don't care if things don't go back. You want the same ish body. It doesn't necessarily have to be as tight as ever. Boobs change and breastfeeding, but nobody wants your vagina to be literally prolapse, broken, unable to do trampoline. Nobody. Let's stop pretending that we're chill.
And it comes back down to postnatal care. It comes back down to education. You know, in the end of the day, I would have had to have a section. It was an emergency section that I ended up having. Like I was really gearing towards a natural delivery
Did that
at the
upset
point.
you?
No, because
Do
at
you
that
want to
point,
take this? Is it still
not
going?
at all, not at all.
Still going.
It's still going, yeah. Well, like it's cold. It's a cold Americano. I actually got coffee FOMO when I rang you, and you were like, "Oh, an oat cappuccino." I already ordered mine. I was like, "Fuck, now I want an oat cappuccino." Anyway, that was a side.
I was just really grateful. I was like, she's so good to me. They're about €7. I was like, great.
You can Revolut me.
I will be. I'll be giving you interest as well. Did it upset you?
No, it didn't, because at that stage I was so scared when that doctor that day said that to me, this baby, like I just saw her face drop and she was like, I'm going to call Hugh. And I just,
And you'd rather it be the
and
one,
I just went, I need this child safe in the world. I need this child safe in the world today. So it was just like, I couldn't care if you have to cut me from the top of my head to the tip of my toes, just make sure she's safe. And I couldn't believe it. And it was 24 hours later and, she was in my arms, and yeah.
Did your world change when Addie came?
When I
Did you
haven't
make me
talked
so
about sorry, no,
emotional?
I haven't talked about it for so long. You just can't believe you've got there. You know what I mean? And you can't believe you've got there safely,
You went through hell.
Yeah.
You did. And no, like everyone cries on this podcast because it's the baby making, the process and the fucking birth, whether it's whatever. It's so emotional, it's such a fucking, it's really mad. And then you hold this little thing and you
hold this
honestly,
little
it changes
thing.
your life.
And the funny thing was, my best friend was 2 doors down in the Coombe, Jill, and she just saw me being wheeled past, right? The door was open and my husband was like, we're here. And she was like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? And then, of course, the 2 lads went to go and grab us like a load of McDonald's and obviously went for pints. And she came in.
Promote that, guys, if you're going on the Pure Results retreat.
Like, I was just
We'll
like
cut
chicken
that.
nuggets. And she came in and she changed Ellie's first nappy because I couldn't, I went to
move.
bed, I couldn't move. And she was there and I
Did you
had
call
her
Ellie
baby.
immediately? Did you name her immediately?
No. We, was it a day or two? I think it was a day or two. Yeah.
Did she change your life?
Oh my God, 100%.
Did she?
Like, did she?
Or is that all mythy moose?
Yeah, like, did she change? Did she change me when? Did motherhood change me? Like, I would say she didn't change me as a person. You
Did
know,
she not?
No, maybe that she made me much more present.
Okay.
She made me like stop thinking about myself all the time, stop thinking about work all the time, stop projecting like where I'm going to be, what I'm going to do, what's the next project, bang, bang, bang. Like that was the way, that's kind of how I'm built.
She didn't change you psychologically? She had changed me, seismic shift in me.
I don't think
Found it
so.
really
Like, and I
hard.
wish,
was
I
suddenly
think,
not selfish anymore. Is suddenly this thing constantly needed 24/7. She was a really tricky baby. The breastfeed, I found I just went from being this loosey-loose carefree Egypt, I was in Egypt, to just finding everything hard. I found it really hard. And I think I wore that very honestly. I was like, isn't everyone finding parenting hard? My friends were like, no, it's great. I love my baby. I'm like, this is so hard.
and I'm kind of, I mean, and I don't want to make light of it, but when we were chatting earlier, she was a really good baby. So we had an easy run with Ellie.
Yeah.
And I am not going to lie, like she, breastfeeding happened for me, luckily.
Same,
and I have
easy.
no boobs, right? And I was like, this is not going to...
I didn't want to say.
No, I arrived
I didn't want to intro it. I didn't want to intro.
You were going to write that in the intro.
Well,
no?
Queen of Irish TV, titless, but fabulous person.
Well, if you watched No Frontiers for 10 years, you would know that
They
was the
weren't
case.
that big.
But like in the hospital bag that Porrick then had to bring in, it was all formula and bottles and everything. Because I was like, it ain't happening,
Yeah.
And
It doesn't
I
matter
was
the
fine
size
with
of the
that.
titties, there's milk.
Yeah, well, I didn't believe that. Clearly, everyone said like it's not the size. I'm like, no, I am flat as a pancake, not happening.
The
But
milk is there.
yeah, so and that worked for me, and I was really surprised. And then she kind of slept, and I was really surprised. And it was just,
You
and
deserved that. You'd had a run of it. You'd had enough shot.
and I think maybe psychologically, and I don't know if that was a part of it. I think psychologically throughout the whole pregnancy, I did not relax for 9 months, and probably pre that, getting pregnant and that 3 years, I was in such a kind of a constantly,
on edge.
on edge.
And then
that
you had her,
actually
you were
when
like-
she, maybe even if she was the most difficult baby in the world, I still think, having gone through what we went through, that it's just the joy and the appreciation
go.
and the gratitude. Then about a year later, and also, sorry, I'm like 40, whatever I was at that point, 40, 41. And, and like, Porrick is, was in his 50s.
But were
he'd
you a
just hit
bit last
50.
chance saloony? Let's do it or not?
Well, I was we were kind of like, I mean, it's not like Rod Stewart, who has kids, and Ronnie Wood into their 70s, but like, and who have 45 nannies to kind of help them cope. But I was like, come on, you know, we're pushing on a bit now at this point, you know. And then after about a year, it was just like, oh, I'd love to give her a little sibling. And that happened to us, and I wasn't really expecting it. And I was like, because she'll be fine. We cousins and we have friends, and she's got her brother, and you know, but that was something that was in us.
Yeah.
And then we said, and so we just said, let's just try. And we tried, and then we said, look, we don't have a lot of time on our side. So we went back to Mary and we said, I said, I can't go through 2 or 3 rounds of this again. So we did 1 round for Grace, and it worked. Yeah. So we were just extremely lucky, and it was just.
Was she a C-sectioner?
She was
again.
Yeah.
Elective.
Elective.
Yeah, because you'd had one before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
and a mad joke.
Yeah, and you know, funny, I've interviewed, you know, Richard Hogan, who's the child psychologist, and I've had loads of great chats with Richard, and he has said, because I'm a second child, right? And I was like,
so you're second the child,
yeah.
so
I'm like,
youngest,
you know, and the second child is like, you know, the stereotype of being wayward, out there, or whatever.
Oh, really?
And he said, just be careful. He said, he said, don't label your kids.
Oh yeah, listen, we're not meant to label.
As in,
so don't label now. When I said mad joke, just ignore that.
Yeah, I say the same with Grace.
We actually shouldn't do, because there are a myriad of things. Like when I talk about Gia being cat, I'm actually like, no, she's not. She's also all for rock. So sorry, we're all loads of things.
But he's just saying, and it stuck with me. Like I say it about. But I said, Richard, it's true. I said, I have Ellie, who is the first child, who is kind of head girl material. And then I have Grace, who I know will never be that. She's just a different personality. She's what?
But then we're it's a dichotomy, because like, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm crazy. But actually, I love being on my own. Solitary time, podcasts, listen to classical music. I want to be up in my bedroom. I'm not really... Socialization drains me a lot, and always did actually. When I think back to school, I remember being so tired from putting on a performance for my friends and having to be the class clown and the crack, and being the one on the trip who's like, who's gonna? And I think that can be, and it's not an inauthentic side where I'm trying to be showbiz. I think I just love the crack, but
then you need the
retreat.
I mean,
I do think we're all a bit of both. I think Gia's probably a bit like that, and actually I think Simone is intellectual in another way. So he's probably right. The label thing is tricky.
Yeah, he's just like, don't give her all the traits of
she's crazy, she's smart. That's not good.
Yeah. And I suppose, and then you look at it, do you play up to that? Do you play up to your persona?
Of course you do.
That you're kind of labeled
with? Of course you do. What kind of a mom are you?
What kind of a mom am I? I think I am a fun mom. I think I love seeing them do mad shit. I love seeing them out and about. I love seeing them, their own personalities. I love seeing them having the crack. I love, they're at the age now where they're both like, you know, killing each other or jumping up and down on each other, and the laughing that goes on. So I love that. I love the free spirit. I love that. I love seeing Ellie now, right? So she's quite into dancing, and she's quite into drama, but she's still quite shy. So I love seeing, you know, when I catch her in the kitchen and she's like, you know, doing all the Taylor Swift moves, and she's like looking at herself in the mirror, and she's, you know, and so she's, her little personality, her little bit of confidence comes out there, and then it can kind of retreat sometimes.
We made them.
I know.
Do you want to die?
Rebecca.
Like,
it's just.
I'm an awful Egypt, and like, even though I'm 40, I'm like a bit of an Egypt, and I look and I'm like, I made humans, and they're so cute, and like, I just want to eat them. Like, Gia is very shy, and she did a gymnastics thing last year she would never have, and I was watching her at the weekend, and I was bowling, and I was like, I'm that mom, because we made these little humans.
Yeah.
And there's a crazy world and life ahead that we won't be part of all of it, with God, not to get depressing, but wars and the displacement of humans, and then we're going to have the crisis of the fact that our world is on fire practically, and what is ahead for them, and we're trying to prep them, but like, they're just our bobos.
Well,
like,
that,
you know,
and that keeps me awake at night.
I just don't let it in, but I try my best to kind of not think too far, but it is very scary.
It's very scary, and it's very debilitating as a mother watching what's going on.
You can't control it.
The other side of the world, and you know, and I've travelled, right, extensively, and I have been to very poor countries, and I've been to war-torn countries, and, you know, you come out, and I suppose what the travel show did teach me as a woman and as a mother, we are very lucky to live where we live. We are very lucky that we get to vote. We are very lucky that we, and when I mean
13, aren't, you know?
like, and I don't mean lucky as in there are women in the world who are so not as fortunate as us.
Oh no, it's horrendous.
You know,
it's bleak.
And so when you know, to be born where we are on this island and to see what's going on and to see the suffering. I have found the last year, since October, very difficult.
Very trying, yeah.
And coming away from it and then feeling guilty that you're looking away and, you know.
And man-made hell. It's a
man-made hell. And then you snuggle the two of them in your bed.
Yeah.
And and Porrick has to go into the Paw Patrol bunk bed and I have the three of us in the bed together. And just because I need to hold them.
Yeah. No, I piss and moan about something that's happened in work or the
And you
traffic,
catch
or I'm
yourself.
sick of spending this on coffee. And then I go, oh my fucking God, the shit that they're going through in Gaza and the shit that goes on in Ukraine and then South Sudan. Like it's not just one place, but at the moment, unfortunately, it is very bad in one place. I mean, as first world parents, you wonder about your child getting a sickness or being stuck in Crumlin or the awful things that could happen to us. But the fact that they're literally burying their babies, it's just, it's unthinkable.
It's just not, it's unconscionable,
Yeah.
you know, and
We're very lucky.
We are very lucky.
Yeah.
We are so lucky. And to have the privilege that we do is
I always said
not
to me I
lost
never
on me.
wanted to have girls because I just think it's such a sucky world and we're making it a bit better. I think we've kind of made it a bit better, but it's still sucky.
That's interesting.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always
Very
wanted
scared.
girls.
No, very scared about having girls. I just think it's not a very fair, it's just not. It's all bullshit. It's not built for us. None of it is. Even the structure now of the working day or the structure of everything about it.
But do you not
And so I thought I'll
believe
have
that
two
things are
laddos and
changing?
they are, but for fuck's sake. What have they said now? The UN, 300 years till there be any kind of equality in the workforce. So yeah, we're trucking away, but it's still bullshit. And then you talk about broken vaginas. That's only a small piece of what we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd rather have boys and just at least the world's, and it's really hard for boys too. Let's not, I'm not poo-pooing anything. It's, Jesus, so many challenges. But I thought that might be an easier road for me because I'll really struggle with that. And then I was given 2 girls on purpose, probably. Here we go. Yeah.
I don't know if I always wanted girls. And I think it is, that kind of fighting spirit, that kind of, for me, having achieved what I've achieved and never really having felt that I couldn't do anything that I set my mind to, right? And working in the world of media like you have, I haven't ever really encountered unfairness, all of the pushback,
that's good.
And so I don't know, like, that's not to say it's the world isn't fucking full of it. We know it is. But for me as a woman, I feel that I have had great women in my life. My mother is a very strong character. Both my grandmothers were very strong characters. My sister is very strong. Like, we would be, we're not easy women to live with, I would say.
Good.
So it's, and I just think the world needs more strong women, and I want to raise strong women and I want to raise confident women and I want to, raise women who love their bodies and who love their friends and who love their men and who love their work. And do you know what I mean? Like that is important to me.
Passion.
Yeah.
Lucky Ellie and Grace. Do you see yourself as a huge success? Like, do you see now, can you sit back a bit and go, because you are a hungry woman. Like, I've watched you or I've interviewed you or I'd seen your things.
I thought you meant like the way I was eating the croissants outside.
You were starving. But like, you were always kind to people. You'd always do the interview. You were always open. You were sweet. You were never an asshole. But you sit back a bit and like you've a huge career ahead of you as well and go, God, I made a great success of myself on the back of a feckin' travel show and Rapid.
I'm very proud of the work that I've done. I'm very proud of the work that we did on Operation Transformation for 14 years.
Jesus Christ.
14 years. And I'm very proud of the
You were
impact
very
that
kind
show
on that
had.
show. I only watched it sometimes because I used to be working. When I did watch it, I was like, what a hard thing to navigate about people's personal, like their weight, their journey through that, whatever emotional shit they were going through, and to be weighed and stuff. And you were such a dote on that. It's a really hard one to get right. Let's be honest.
It is.
You were
It
fantastic.
is.
And you could see the relationships building and growing. And so you must be proud of that.
Really, really proud of it, and how the show evolved and how the show changed. It was very weight centric when I took over from Jerry Ryan.
Yes,
and that was the society that we were living in. I know. Jerry did it for 3 years.
Shit, I forgot.
And then you know, the show became a whole, in the same way that probably my own business, Pure
like
Results.
a holistic thing.
Yeah, like
as
when we
opposed to
started,
you're fat, you're thin.
yeah, when we started with Pure Results, it was like all fitness. And within about 2 or 3 years, it was like the mental health space here that is required in order for people, because you have to feel confident in yourself. You have to feel confident to make changes. You have to feel confident in yourself and your capabilities and your abilities to incorporate new habits into your life. And so, same with Operation Transformation, the 360 approach that was adopted probably 6-7 years ago was huge.
Are you kind of glad it's done in a way, because it's like another box ticks and you can kind of move on? Are you sad, or are you kind of like, how do you feel when these
I
things
was ready.
end?
I was ready to
It's a
move.
long time.
I was ready to move, and probably, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, I was saying, right, what can I creatively?
What more? Yeah.
You know, I had kind of done what I could do with the show. We had done what we could do with the show, and I just felt personally, for me, I think there is a need for a show like Operation Transformation. I think we really do have to kind of have a platform that is revolved around health, that is educational, that gets the community. There was no show like Operation Transformation to get
you got
communities.
people doing their couch to 5K. You got people, like, we have an obesity, like we are great at running. We're one of the biggest countries for getting out and running. We do things in the shitting rain in the winter. We're GA heads, where we have an issue with obese children. Like, let's call a spade a spade. We have a problem with the foods that we're eating, the processed foods. We have a problem with not being accountable for what we're giving our kids. We have a problem with our own,
we have a problem with weight loss injections that are coming down the track, and that's a whole other podcast.
So it is a positive space. But with that, what have you in mind? Like, you can't really talk about everything you're going to do, but there's so many, like Pure Results, you're going to be podcasting a bit, you're going to, like, you've got a whole gauntlet of things that you'd like to do, I presume.
Yeah, and it's now taking the time. Like, I'm doing the Rose of Tralee, which is coming up in August. I did that for the first time last year.
Would you do another travel show?
I would
Kathryn, I would die
to do another travel show.
get
But I
your
mean, I've been saying that
bikini
since I had my
back
second
on.
child. I was like, well, since I had my first child, I was like, I need to get the hell out of here. So like pitch travel show.
You
Pitch travel
need
show.
to do another travel show.
Listen, I would love it. I mean, I have very young children. I could not do the disappearing like I used to do. But you know what was brilliant? I did a show during COVID, when I think about it now, called...
But you have a perfect vagina, so you can do these shows. Lots of women couldn't. There we go. There's the clip. Yours is intact. You can do the rolling.
Wow. I mean, it's all about like having the hair, the skin, whatever. I didn't know you had to have a perfect vagina to, you know, host a TV show, unless you're doing that fucking, what's it called, Naked Bodies.
But you're jumping and stuff down a ravine. I'm just saying you could do this. So always remember, if you need me to write your
Great. Like, let's get that proposal
might have 2
into
kids
RTE.
and be like 50, but she can
has the
run
perfect
like
vagina.
the wind. Kathryn.
I did that show, No Place Like Home, which was me and Ellie in the camper van going around Ireland.
How was that?
And it was amazing to kind of get back into that travel space, you know. So look, and it's in the blood, it's in the veins, it's like, you know, it's in the vagina. It's like it's like travel is you know, it's part of the DNA. So I mean, I don't settle unless I'm kind of reading travel, looking at travel.
You're an inspiration, because you don't, out of all the women, and, you know, I'm not going to name names, but out of women in Ireland who are other TV presenters or broadcasters, you can see that you pick and choose carefully. You can see there's massive loyalty to the things that you do, massive energy, and then you build up this gorgeous rapport with your audience. You're loved. We have literally watched you from
age. You've watched me age.
You know what I mean? But we've
25
literally watched
years.
you, so we all feel we know you. But there's such a lovely, like even talking about your fertility, I knew bits and pieces of that, not everything. Relationships, where you are at now and what's going to come. You are so well loved in this country. I was dying to get you on. I feel like, you know, you've the two, like, we're on the same kind of little road with our 2 little bobos, and we are honoured to have girls. And thank you for reminding me that, because I kind of forget. I'm like, it's really scary, but actually we're so lucky. Thank you for coming on A Little Birdie Told Me and talking about your bits. All of them. And so much love and love to you in the future.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure.
And weird.
Sponsored by Aptamil Follow-On Milk. We believe that every feed is a gift. That's why we've dedicated over 50 years to breast milk research and created Aptamil Follow-On Milk. Aptamil Follow-On Milk, your life, our science. If breastfeeding is best, follow-on milk should be used as part of a mixed diet from 6 months. Talk to a health professional. I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Little Birdie Told Me, and if you did, it would mean a lot to me if you could like, subscribe and share this episode.